golf is one of the few businesses around the world that has zero industry standards. And that means you have to be mega careful with how you spend your money, not just with quality, but also with specifications as well. In this video, we're going to talk about two golf clubs which should necessarily go a certain distance, but actually if you delve into it, might go a totally different distance, and if you weren't careful, could end up wasting quite a lot of your hard-earned money. So the two clubs we are speaking about are in my hands here. Before we get into it, guys, we've got a par 4, gorgeous long par 4, sweeping round to the right-hand side. You can't really hit driver on here because there is a hazard up to the left. So I'm going to tee off with both these irons, and we're going to discuss just what ball flights we get. We're going to discuss exactly how far they should go, and we're going to discuss shaft length, loft, and the number on the bottom, because so many people are quick to go and buy a 2-iron, a 3-iron, a 4-iron, or even a 1-iron, but when it comes down to it, they're not entirely sure. That is a perfect line for this hole. They're not entirely sure what they're buying, what they're spending the money on, and even how far that club should go, which is crazy for me to think, because if you're spending upwards of £200 on one club, then you should really know how far they are going to go. There's a clue for you. Right, this is a different iron, totally different specs, different brand. This is a 3-iron. Actually looks more like a 2-iron than the 2-iron did. And that is another perfect line for this hole, just fading round that corner nicely. I'm going to hit a couple more with them. We're going to get them in the studio and discuss exactly what the differences are and why you have to be so careful, and why I thought it's important to bring you guys this video. Because at the moment, there's a lot of talk on iron specs, on iron lofts, on iron lengths, and on split sets. You have to be so careful not to get the wrong split set, because you could end up with two irons exactly the same. And as you can see here, we have a 3-iron at 17 degrees of loft and a 2-iron at 18 degrees of loft. Now, yes, that is only 1 degree loft difference, but why is the 3 more strong than the 2? And why hasn't the industry got a standard that kind of stops this? Because not everybody wants a full matching set with the same brand. Not everyone can afford to have a full matching set with the same brand as well. So if you start saying, right, well, this 3-iron's got 1 degree less loft than a 2-iron, but then the shaft length is different and the shaft material is different, which we'll talk about in a second as well, which one goes where? Because without going and get fitted for this and trying it on a launch monitor and knowing the ball speed, the spin rate, the launch angle, how can you tell which one you should have? I actually prefer this one. I prefer the steel shafted 3-iron because I feel like it's more versatile. That's not to say the 2-iron, that's exactly the same shot again. I'm really enjoying the ball flights on all of these clubs. That's not to say the 2-iron isn't a great club as well. We have the Srixon ZX driving iron. Now those lofts will be in line with their iron range, because they're hoping that people go and buy Srixon irons and a Srixon driving iron. The Vega Mizar Max should be in line with the Vega Mizar Max irons. But again, if you don't get matching, how do you know? And I find it really interesting because distance a golf ball travels is down to a few different factors. It's down to ball speed, it's down to launch angle, it's down to spin rate. If you get a lovely launching ball with around the optimum spin rate and the perfect ball speed for that club, it's going to go a set distance. If you get less ball speed and more spin and a high launch, it's not going to go as far. So different characteristics can cover that, being shaft material, shaft length, which will dictate ball speed, or club head speed, which does dictate ball speed, but also loft on the club, which dictates launch angle. See, I've managed to hit that one a little bit higher this time. Again, the perfect flight left to right around this hole. Guys, get in the comments below, do you know just the loft of all your clubs? Do you know the length of them, which should dictate the club head speed? And do you know how far they go? Because this video is about to get very interesting. You see, if I put these clubs neck and neck, you start to see that, yes, the shaft material is different, yes, it's going to have different flexes, different weights, and the 2-iron is around an inch longer than the 3-iron. So although we do have less loft on the 3-iron than the 2-iron, randomly, we do have more length. And I do find this topic very interesting, because when people go and try and buy golf clubs, they always ask, what loft is it? Not many people ask what length is it, and actually length has a lot more to do with distance than you might think. Maybe even more so than the loft on the club. Ball speed is an imperative factor as to how far your golf ball goes, and that's determined by the club head speed and obviously the strike. One thing you will find is that a shorter shaft is easier to hit out the middle, so generally you can have more club head speed but less ball speed. A struck shot out the middle is always going to basically generate more ball speed than a shot massively out the toe or the heel, unless we're talking in huge margins. And this is pretty much what I anticipated, a cluster of balls very close together, even though we have a 2-iron and a 3-iron, all pretty well struck. We have two there, one there, and I can tell you that that ball is the 3-iron, that ball is, no, it's a 2-iron because it was closer to that side, so those two are also a 2 and a 3. Now, those differences, front to back dispersion, are very, very minimal. Yeah, I've got a 2 and a 3. So if you stand on a tee box and someone says, oh, I'm hitting 3-iron, oh, I'm hitting 2-iron, only because these clubs have the loft printed on them do we know this is a little bit of a discrepancy. So don't always ask, well, you can't ask, but I think it is a really interesting topic when talking to golfers. Oh, what did you hit? What did you hit? I hit 2, I hit 3, I hit 6, I hit 7. We all know that some people's irons are stronger lofted or weaker lofted than others, but often we don't always think about that when it comes to clubs off the tee. You have to ask yourself, really, what do I want from this club? What launch do I want? Do I want it nice and low? Do I want plenty of spin so I get a bit more control? Do I want a fairway finder? Or do I just want a club that's going to go miles down the middle of the fairway? This is the 2-iron. We're going to go 2 in a row here, then 2 in a row with the 3. And I do feel like if I do really nuke this, purely because of that shaft length and shaft material, it should be able to go a little bit further than the 3-iron. Now, yes, that's simple. It's a 2-iron, it should go further than a 3-iron. But remember, this is a higher lofted 2-iron than that 3-iron. Let me know if you're still here on this, because it's starting to get a little bit confusing for me as well. Do I want a club that's going to go a certain distance, or do I want a club that's going to be incredibly versatile? Like, they're two fantastic shots for me, really powerful ball flights just down the right hand side of this hole. You can see this is a really long sweeping dogleg again to the left. Those bunkers are in driver distance, so it does make sense to hit a driving iron on here, although you're going to probably have a driving iron in, which we'll discuss later on in this video, because you might also think, well, 1 degree isn't going to have a huge say on how I strike that shot, but actually 1 degree on loft can make a club a little bit harder to hit, a little bit easier to hit off the deck, and also shaft length makes it a little bit harder to control. So like we said earlier, if I strike this 3-iron out the middle, there's every chance it goes past that 2-iron if I didn't. Look at that for a ball flight. That is absolutely gorgeous. And that's one thing which I love about this Vega 2-iron, well, 3 and a 2.5 iron we'll call it. You can play whatever shot you want to play with it, and the versatility is real. Right, 4 very interesting shots, 4 very similar shots. Let's see what's happened down there. Then we're going to go off the deck, see exactly what the differences are. I think shaft material is playing a huge role in this test. Let's also jump in the studio and see just how these irons do compare for numbers. As you can see here, we have some very consistent shots up the left side of the fairway. This was actually the 2-iron, which was a misstruck shot. Chris is steering and I realised that I've actually got my foot on the accelerator. I wanted to slow down there, sorry mate. But basically you have to strike these out the middle. That is the shot that I hit really well with the 2-iron. These are the 3-irons, which are a lot more consistent, and that is the misstruck shot with the 2-iron. So just because it's got less loft on it doesn't necessarily mean, so just because it's got a longer shaft length doesn't necessarily mean it's going to go further. You have to strike it out the middle. Right, interesting numbers inside, more similar than you might think. Obviously ball speed was more with the Srixon because of the shaft length, and I struck it okay. The spin rate was different and distance was pretty much similar. Now off the fairway, we're going to have 1 shot with each. We've been going 2 with each because I wanted to show you a little bit more of a consistency difference, but you only get 1 shot in real life. So we're going to go with the Srixon 2-iron first. We're 230 yards out here, so we need to get all of it. We need the ball speed, we need distance out of this. I feel like both of them can get there if we get them properly. I don't feel like there's too much difference in these clubs at all. And that's a lovely low shot with the 2, just fading to the right side. Is it up there? I think that's flag high right. I think it's just gone a little bit too far right. Now what about the Vega? Can we hit it straighter because of that shorter shaft length, but still get the distance because of the lower launching loft? That is at it. That is at it, and that is such a good strike. Guys, let's go up there and see where these are. The big primary reason I wanted to do this video is so you guys know exactly what you're buying. I wanted to show you just how different or similar different clubs can be. And I really hope it means that you might start doing tests like this yourself before you go and spend any money at all. So just short, we have the 3-iron, which again is 17 degrees of loft, and even shorter here, we have the 2-iron, which is 18 degrees of loft, but the longer shaft length. I would want that shot all day long to chip into that hole. Very interesting test, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed that, smash that subscribe button below. Golf videos every single day here on James Robinson Golf. And apart from that, I'll see you all, hopefully at the same time tomorrow. Goodbye.